Welcome back to the session of language learning. We are going to begin with a new topic, that is verbs. Yes, of course, it is very easy. So, verb means any action word or any word that expresses an action or states what a person does or is doing, that is known as a verb. Still then, let us have a look for the definition. Verbs. A verb is a word which expresses an action or states what a person or a thing is, or expresses what is done to a person. That means any action word whichever tells about any action being done by a person or done to a person, that is known as a verb. For example, we play tennis. Here play is a verb. She remained silent. Remained is a verb. The door was closed. Was closed is a verb here. The children have been dancing. That is a verb here. Now that means that in a sentence, a sentence may consist of one word, two word, or more than two words as verbs. As we see here, play is a single word here, one word here, two word, and here more than two words. So verb is any action word or any word that expresses an action is known as a verb. Now let us see what more the verb has to say. Now see, verbs are of two kinds, that is transitive and intransitive verbs. Transitive and intransitive. Now what is transitive and what is intransitive? Let us know first. Transitive means a verb which requires an object. Remember, a verb which requires an object to complete its meaning is called transitive verb. That means whenever in a sentence an object is used to give a complete meaning to a sentence, that verb is known as a transitive verb. For example, Anurag has broken a chair. Now, has broken is verb, we know that. But which kind of verb it is? It is transitive, because what Anurag has broken? Anurag has broken a chair. Now, chair is object here. It is giving a complete meaning. If I will not write this chair, Anurag has broken. Now, you are not also able to know what Anurag has broken. So, when I am giving a chair, using the word chair here, it is an object for a sentence, and this object is used to give a complete meaning to the sentence. Now, they distributed sweets. Distributed is verb. Now, this is object here. Why? If I say they distributed, it may be books, it may be copies, it may be chairs, it may be tables, anything, unless and until I give you a particular word. When I have given here sweets, that means they distributed sweets only. That is, sweets is the object here. So we can say these are called objects because the action denoted by the verbs passes on to them. That means it gives a complete meaning to the sentence. These objects are used in a sentence to give it or define it in a complete meaning, as a result of which it is known as a transitive verb. Verbs remains the same, has broken, distributed, but these are transitive verbs because it has an object with it. Now just the opposite will be intransitive. Let us see what intransitive is having to say. Now intransitive verb. What is intransitive verb? Since transitive said that it needs an object to give a complete meaning, intransitive verb means a verb which does not require an object, which does not require an object to complete its meaning. To complete its meaning. That means sentence is in a complete mode itself. Sometimes we require some objects to give a complete meaning. See now here, Anurag has broken. If I say this is intransitive. Why? Because what Anurag has broken, we never know. We never know. But if I say stars twinkle. Stars twinkle. Now you see, stars twinkle means तारे चमकते हैं. And तारे of course कब चमकते हैं? रात को चमकते हैं. That means this is a complete sentence without an object. It has a complete meaning. Stars will never twinkle in the morning, isn't it? Daytime. So this is a complete meaning. Without a verb, we can understand the meaning. But if I say he fought is intransitive. Why do we say he fought? He may be fighting for something, और कभी कोई लड़ता है, बहुत bravely लड़ता है, cowardly के way में लड़ता है. If I say he fought bravely, when I am adding a word here bravely, it becomes a complete meaning. But if I say he fought, कहीं पे भी fighting कर सकता है. Many a times some sentences are there that shows that it is complete. Suppose if I say here another sentence, the dogs are barking. This is also a complete sentence without an object. It is intransitive verb. It does not require an object to give you a complete meaning of the sentence. The dogs are barking. It can be a day, it can be a night. कभी भी कुत्ते भौंक सकते हैं. इसके लिए हमको जरूरत नहीं. This is complete. They're distributed. This is also right. मेरे कहने का मतलब है intransitive मतलब कभी कभी सेंटेंस में verbs यूज होते हैं without object. Still then it has a complete meaning. Those type of things are known as intransitive verbs. Many a times some objects are given to them to make it transitive. Many a times without adding the object also it is intransitive and it has a complete meaning. For example, without object also it is complete. Say stars twinkle, we can understand the meaning. The dogs are barking, we can understand the meaning. Anurag has broken, this is also intransitive without an object. क्या तोड़ दिया हमको पता नहीं, लेकिन कुछ तोड़ दिया. So this is intransitive. A verb is present everywhere. The meaning between difference between transitive and intransitive is कभी कभी verbs object के साथ आता है, कभी कभी verbs without object के साथ आता है. Object के साथ जब आता है वो transitive बन जाता है, without object के जब आता है वो intransitive बन जाता है. Now let's see what more is there. Now auxiliary verbs. Auxiliary verb means helping verbs. Now auxiliary verbs is again divided into primary auxiliary and modal auxiliary. Remember, auxiliary verb means helping verb. Auxiliary verbs is again divided into primary auxiliary and modal auxiliary. Now if we see what is first auxiliary verb, let us see, it is the helping verbs as I have already told you before. They are used, where are these auxiliary verbs used? They are used with the main verbs to make the complete sentence. These auxiliary verbs are used as with the main verbs to make a complete sentence. Many a time auxiliary verbs are also used as main verbs. Now what are these auxiliary verbs? You see is, are, add, do, did, can, may, will, must, shall. These all auxiliary verbs or the helping verbs are used in a sentence to make a complete sentence. For example, if I say he is writing, if I remove the is from that, he writing has no sense. That means I am using the auxiliary verb or the helping verb is there to make it a complete sentence. जब तक हम लोग ये auxiliary verbs का use नहीं करते हैं sentence में, कोई भी sentence complete नहीं हो सकता है अपने आप में. Now some auxiliary verbs can also be used as main verbs. That also we have to remember. Many a times these helping verbs are used or made in a sentence in such a way that it has a complete meaning or it becomes a main verb of a sentence. Now let us come for the primary auxiliary and modal auxiliary. Now what is primary auxiliary? I have given you the short form, that is PA, and modal auxiliary I have made it MA. Now primary auxiliary, if we say, these verbs are very small in number. How it is small in number? We have do, have and be. These are primary auxiliary. But using this do, have, be, it also can be used in different ways. To make this do, have and be, we can also use them in several forms. What are the several forms you see? For do, we can use it in does and did. For do, we can use it in does and did. For have, we can make it has, had, having. Be, is, am, are, was, were, been, be. कहने का मतलब है ये तीन आपका जो है प्राइमरी ऑक्सिलरी है, इसको हम दूसरे फॉर्म में यूज कर सकते हैं. हाउ? See, does and did, that means it is used or can be used differently in several forms according to the tenses that we are using. Now I am going to explain it in which tenses how we are using these words. Just have a look. Now as I said that do, have and be can be used in several forms. Let me explain you. Where are we using it in several forms or how are we using it in several forms? Now primary auxiliary verbs are used to form tenses, as I said. First one is to form tenses. Now for example, Rohan has eaten apples. Now has eaten. Now I am not going to have or brush you up with the tenses. You must be knowing which tense am I using here. Has eaten. Eaten is V3 form. Remember, has plus V3, which tense? Rohan has eaten apples. She was doing her work. Now here tense has eaten and here was doing. You must be understanding. I have used the format of have and your be. That is have, you see, has I have brought here. has eaten, and was I have taken from be. That's a different for using be in a different form. That is was doing her work. Now second one where we can use primary auxiliary verb is to form the negative sentence. Now you see, we do not sell medicines. The same sentence also we can write. She was not doing her work. Ram has not eaten the apples. They did not play well. Now do not we have taken from do, and did not we have taken from do again, that is did. This is did is in the which format, which tense you say. They did not play well, do not sell medicines. So we are using it, the not word, to make us positive sentence into a negative sentence. Next, where are we using? To form the questions. Have you ever played tennis? Have is a straight format from here I have picked up. Have you ever played tennis? Question mark. And does he know French? Did he come to the school? Did he eat well? What was he doing? But we cannot take the what. I have not given here what. I have taken here have and does only to show the uses of have in a different format in the primary auxiliary verb. Now another one is to form the passive voice. To form the passive voice, that is cow's milk is used here. Is has been taken from be verb. Okay. All the books have been sold. Have been. Again it has come from the main verb, helping verb, that is have. So these are the ways how we can use these three primary auxiliary verb, or we can say the primary auxiliaries as or can be used in different formats. Now two more things are there how we are using the primary or the auxiliary verb as the main verb. I am going to explain it now. Just have a look. Now the primary auxiliaries, as I said beforehand, that sometimes these auxiliaries are also used as the main verbs. You see, where can we use these auxiliaries as the main verbs? The primary auxiliaries such as is, am, are, was, were, has, have, had, do, does, did can also be used as main verbs. See, I am giving you an example. My mother has a beautiful sari. It is having a complete meaning. I need no second verb to make my sentence complete. That means here this has is itself used as a main verb. The girls were absent. Again I am using this were as a main verb in a sentence. Now the same verbs, that is same auxiliaries, that is this is, am, are, was, were, have, had, जो भी लिखी हुई है उसको हम ये चेंज होता है जब हम सेंटेंस में यूज करते हैं. दिस सेम auxiliaries changes according to the person and the number of the subject. देखिए सिंगुलर प्लूरल जो नंबर में बोलती हूँ, ठीक है. तो ये जैसे पर्सन हम यूज करेंगे, इट मे बी फर्स्ट पर्सन, सेकंड पर्सन, थर्ड पर्सन, सिंगुलर प्लूरल, उसके हिसाब से भी हमारा सेंटेंस का वर्ब चेंज होता है. जैसे कि वी आर गोइंग टू दिल्ली टुमारो. नाउ सी आई हैव यूज्ड द फर्स्ट पर्सन as a result of which I have done are going. Now when I am making a second person, that is you is a second person. Remember children, you is a second person. Again I am using the verb here auxiliary as are. When I am using third person, that is she, he. She is writing, he is writing, that is singular. Third person singular, so it has become here is. I cannot make she are writing, she is writing, because she is a third person and it is used in singular. When I am using the third person as a plural, I am using something else. You see, they is a third person plural. They have done their homework. I cannot write they has done their work. They have I have to use, because they is a third person plural, and when we are having a plural here, we have to use here have. So this is all about your primary auxiliary. Now we are going for the modal auxiliary. Let us start with the modal auxiliaries now. Primary auxiliaries over. So modal auxiliaries means, what are the modal auxiliaries? First you note down. That is can, could, may, might, shall, should, will, would, must, ought to, used to, need, dare. These are all modal auxiliaries. Modal auxiliaries never changes with the person or number as Primary auxiliaries, I had told that it changes with the change of the person, that is first person, second person, third person, singular, plural, it changes accordingly. But our modal auxiliaries never changes according to the person or the number. And one more thing is, what is this modal auxiliaries used as, or normally where do we use? Because these are used to express the ideas of ability, possibility, permission, obligation, duty, etc. Ability, possibility, permission, obligation, duty, etc. And as I have already told that they never change according to the person or the number. Now let us see the uses of the modal auxiliaries. As the first one is for us is can and could. So can and could. Can is used to express ability. The first format of can, we can say it is used to express ability. Many a times it is also used for permission purpose also. Let us see how we are using it for ability. She can speak French. That means she is able to speak French. I can say ability. She is able. Then again can, as I said, can is used to express a permission also, to ask permission also, I can say, or say giving you the permission, you can use my car. That means you are allowed to use my car. I have given you the permission, you can use my car, or you are allowed to use my car. Now as you know, or you must all be knowing, that could is the past tense of can. इसका एग्जाम्पल क्या होगा? I could run a mile. Again ability, past tense है, ability है, it expresses a ability. That means I have the ability to run a mile. So this is the use of the can and could. Next we are going for may and might. Now just see how we are going to use may and might. Now what to use may or might? May is used to express the possibility. May is used to express the possibility. For example, it is raining, he may come late. So this is a possibility. He may come, he may not come also, but chances are there. Many a times, may is also used to express the permission. Permission where, so normally this part is used for a senior, from your elder. May I take your pick? जो तुमसे बड़े हो उसके जगह में ये यूज होता है परमिशन के लिए. May I take your pick? May I take your cycle? May I take this, or may I do this for you? So these are all the may is used in these sentences as seeking permission. Normally these things are used in the senior or the elder format sentence. जो आपसे बड़े हैं वहाँ पे आप use करते हो. May is also used to express a request. Request, may I have your notebook? I am requesting you. I am giving you a request. May I have your notebook? Now, might is also used to express possibility. Might, past tense of may. Might is also used to express the possibility. He is a miser, but he might still lend you money. वो कंजूस है, लेकिन फिर भी वो तुमको पैसा उधारी में देगा. So this is a possibility. Many a times, might is also used in an indirect speech. Normally, might is used to as a past tense in the indirect speech. For example, she said that she might go to England the following year. She said that she might go to England for the England the following year. Here, what did I use? I used might, that is in the past tense form in an indirect speech also. That means might can also be used in the indirect speech. Now we are going for will or shall. Now just have a look. Now will and shall. Where do we use will and shall? You see, will in the first person. Remember children, will in the first person expresses willingness, promise, determination. Willingness करने का इरादा हो या खुद राजी हो. Promise मतलब आपको पता है. Determination means promise. We can say firm decision that yes, you are fixed up. Yes, I am going to do that. Now for example, I will see this film tomorrow. ये मेरे willingness, मेरे हिसाब से मैंने बोला ये फिल्म मैं कल देखने वाली हूँ. We will finish this work by tomorrow. I am making a promise that we are going to finish this work by tomorrow. This is willingness, this is promise. and I will give this copy next week. I am determined in my mind that I am going to give you this copy next week. So this is a use of the will, you see, in three different ways, different process or ways. First is for the willingness, second is for promise, and third is for the determination. Second way to use the will in the second person. This is the first person, second person and third person. It expresses the simple future tense, we can say. They will finish the work by tomorrow. Will she win the match? Here I am using the will in second person as well as third person. That expresses, or I have expressed in the simple future tense, that they will finish the work by tomorrow. This is a, they is your which person? Third person. So they will finish. Will she win the match? Now she, I have used here, before that I have given the will, that means I am not sure. It is in a future tense. Will she win the match? The next uses of this will is also used to express a polite request or offer in question form. It can be used in a form of request or in a question form. For example, if I say, will you open the door? I have given you the sentence, will you open the door? Now in this case, I have asked you in form of question as well as in a requesting form. If I say after that will you have another cup of tea? I am asking you politely, will you have another cup of tea? This is in the question format. Will you have another cup of tea? That will be in a request format. Now after this I will be explaining you how to use the shall in your sentences. Now you see the uses of shall. Shall in the first person, that is I and we, it expresses the simple future tense. That means when we are using the shall in the first person, we are talking about the simple future tense. That is, we shall go to Mumbai next week. Next week means in the future, and I have used shall with the first person. We shall go to Mumbai next week. When I am using the shall in the second person, that is you. Shall is the second person, that is you, and third person, that is he, she, it, they. We are using, or it expresses a command or a promise. It expresses a command or promise. You see, you shall not steal. I am giving a command, you shall not steal. When we are using the shall in the second person as well in the third person, it expresses a command or promise. She shall have her watch this Sunday. I am making a promise to her that you are going to have your watch this Sunday. Now the shall is also used to express offer of service or suggestion in question form. It also expresses offer of service or suggestion in a question form. That means when we are using it in a question format, you see the words, shall I open the door? I am asking you, I am offering my service to you. Shall I open the service means help. Shall I open the door? Shall I with a cup of tea? सजेशन भी है, ये सर्विस भी है, ये लेकिन क्वेश्चन फॉर्मेट में है. तो शैल को हम लोग क्वेश्चन फॉर्मेट में भी यूज कर सकते हैं in order to express the offer of service. We are expressing or we are offering our service to the other person or a suggestion to the other person in a question form. So after this we are coming for would and should. Now you see the uses of would or should. Now normally would and should are the past tense or past format of will and shall. Will, would, shall, should. He said that he would ring me up. He said that they should go for a picnic. Normally wherever we are using the will and shall, when we are coming for a past format of past sentence, we are using he said that, he would, because it is already in the past tense. Would is also used in the second person, that is you, to express polite request. It is somewhat similar to the uses of the will and shall. Would you lend me your copy? It is a polite request. Or I would like to have a cup of tea. That is again a polite request. I am requesting you that I want to have a cup of tea. Would is also used to express habitual action that has happened in the past. जो पहले होता था पास्ट टेंस में. When I was young, I would get up early. जब मैं छोटी थी तब मैं बहुत सुबह उठ जाती थी. या फिर when he was at school, he used to play or he would play for hours. जब वो स्कूल में होता है वो घंटों बैठ के खेलता रहता है, थकता नहीं. That means it is a normal habitual action that was happening in the past time. Now the use of should, you see, should is used to express the obligation. We should help the poor. You should study. That means I'm giving you a I can say the obligation, or this sentences are these sentences expresses the obligation format, or obligations. We should help the poor. It should be, that means it is a human value, we can say, or we can say you should be neatly dressed. That is वो होना ही चाहिए. हमको एक दूसरे का या गरीबों का सहायता करनी चाहिए, ये होना चाहिए हमारे अंदर. अब कोई करता है नहीं करता, दैट इज़ डिफरेंट इशू. यू शुड बी नीटली ड्रेस्ड. आप जब बाहर जाते हो गंदे कपड़े पहन के तो जाओगे नहीं. तो ये जो होता है ये एक नॉर्मल टेंडेंसी होता है, ये होना ही चाहिए. अब मानते हो नहीं मानते हो, दैट इज़ अप टू यू. बट दिस should is normally used to express the obligation. Now we are going for the must and ought to. Now you see must and ought to. Must is used to express a strong obligation or compulsion. Children, you must be getting confused with the term. This obligation, it can be a rule or regulation you must obey. That is strong obligation or compulsion. You must stop when the light is red. That is about the traffic rules I am saying. You must stop when the light is red, or you must not travel without a ticket. So obligation means it is a law or a rule made by a governing body. Now ought to is used to express again the same thing, obligation. You ought to obey your parents. It is we can say by default, it is our moral values, or it is a responsibility, or it is a rule, or anything you think it, you have to obey your parents. Nowhere it is written, or in a sentence cannot be written on the board, you ought not to obey your parents. I cannot say it is a negative sentence. You ought to obey your parents. You ought to speak the truth. I cannot say you ought to speak lies. Never you will get such examples. You ought to speak the truth. That means again it is expressing the obligation or the laws or the rules each and every one should follow. So this is all about the verbs we have learned. That is transitive, intransitive, auxiliaries, primary auxiliaries, modal auxiliaries. In this part, till this much we will cover. In the next session or a next part I am going to make regarding the same verb lesson, where we are going to know about the finite and the non-finite verbs. Till then, stay tuned and wait for the next video. If you have not subscribed till now, if you have not liked my video till now, please view, share and subscribe.